Hello, everyone. My name is Jess Furtick from Tau Media. I am delighted to be speaking with Eric Demori, who is the non-executive director of Taruga Minerals. The company is moving to secure two highly prospective gold and copper projects in Papua New Guinea, a significant step change for the company. Eric is here to walk us through this amazing opportunity and what investors should be watching. The ASX ticker code is TAR. Hi, Eric. It's good to speak to you today.
Hi, Jess. Thanks for having me on.
So, Eric, you've just come back from Papua New Guinea, where you went to both of the projects that we're about to talk about. But first, before we start that, can you tell us why this deal, why now, and what makes these PNG assets so transformational for the company?
Yeah, thanks, Jess. It's been a long journey for Taruga. We've been looking for complementary assets for about 2 years. Um, there's a lot of things to like about this project. We waited for the right asset. We were searching for copper gold, and we found something that's on that cusp of exploration, but also near-term development. I hark back to the days of Adriatic Metals, which Paul and I started, where a vendor presented us a box full of old data. And so this is a little bit similar. The last drilling was done at one of the projects in 2009, the other project 2011. Commodity prices have changed a lot since then, and it's a really compelling opportunity with these assets to kick off more exploration and continue the exploration growth. A lot of the mineralization is open at depth and along strike.
And also with these projects, Eric, you mentioned that they're quite far advanced. So it was about finding the right type of mix of projects. So you've got sort of district scale, gold, tier one sort of porphyry type of assets in PNG.
Yeah, so there's two projects we've taken a 12-month option to have a look at. One's called East Normanby. It's on the Normanby Island. The other's called Kol Mountain, and that's in East New Britain. So the tagline we like to use is "We're in the islands, not the highlands." A couple of weeks ago, with the vendor Peter McNeil and Dave Chapman, my fellow director, and Adam Mithke from Discovery, we visited the Wioko Gold Deposit, which is the main advanced deposit as part of the East Normanby Gold Project. And that's had around 67 drill holes. Last drilling, as I said, 2009. But we were able to find the outcropping mineralization, walk the track, find the old collars, look at some of the exposed rocks at surface. It's a low sulfidation epithermal hosted 40-kilometre strike length tenement package. So it was great to see Wioko, and more importantly, converse with the locals, meet the local landowners, get an understanding of their interest in having us there, and participating in exploration. But that was really well received, and Peter's been there for over 40 years, so he commands a lot of respect in those local communities.
So interesting, Eric. And now you mentioned historical results at the project and particularly at Wioko. How quickly do you think Taruga can convert those historical results into a maiden JORC resource at Wioko and Kol Mountain?
Yeah, so I'll focus on East Normanby first. That's a project that's in the Wioko permit or project is actually within an application. It's in the final stages of being granted. It's subject to the minister's decision. We're hoping that soon. So we can't drill that project just yet, but there's a lot of QA/QC to do first, both with confirming, probably redoing some channel sampling, redoing some rock chip sampling, understanding the existing mineralization that was drilled. But we like to think there's a near-term JORC opportunity there. As I said, of the existing drilling, many of the drill holes finished in gold. Some of the drill holes finished in a gram, some finished in half, some finished in 0.2, zero point 0.3. But the important thing is that at depth, it's open. A lot of these drill holes finished in mineralization, and along strike, it's open. The Wioko gold deposit sits within an 8-kilometre strike of really high soils. Gold in soils is extremely high, and there's numerous prospects. We're calling it the Wioko Gold Camp. And there's numerous other prospects within that 8-kilometre strike zone, which we're really interested in following up and ultimately drilling.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So what you're trying to say, there's sort of pilot prospects around the Wioko Gold Prospect showing sort of material scale potential for that project. So not just looking at one sort of target, but multiple.
Look, scale is obviously important. And when you look at a project, you want to see many things. But a mineralisation strike length continuing and having the right rocks. Obviously, the geology is pervasive. We like to see that, but the work has been done by the soils, and the trenching as well is really, really compelling. So a lot of that early work has been done. It's just a real lack of follow-up drilling. So we're really excited to get going on that early next year.
Yeah, fantastic, Eric. And now on that, you've got a 12-month option for these two projects. What sort of exploration spend or work do you anticipate on doing? And how are you going to fund it, without heavy dilution to current Taruga shareholders?
Well, as you all know, we've recently raised $1.5 million. Now, that was done at a slight premium to the 15-day VWAP. It was cornerstoned by myself, Paul Cronin, who are really obviously excited about this opportunity. We've got an existing cash balance of our last quarterly around 1.3, 1.4. So we've got a good war chest to continue exploration early next year. Our commitment on both projects is to spend $150,000 on each project over 12 months. I'd like to think we'll complete that within the first 6 months. We're quite keen to get going. And the Kol Mountain project is a granted permit. It's got two porphyry prospects. One's called Isis. It was drilled early days by BHP, explored by Rio Tinto, and most recently drilled by Octedi in 2011 and 12. Mineralization starts from surface. It's unusual for a porphyry to be outcropping. Many you see have 200-300 meters of cover. The Isis prospect starts from surface. Compelling grades of copper, thick mineralization, open at depth as well. Many holes finished in mineralization at depth. There's a gold component, which historically wasn't assayed properly. It was assayed intermittently for gold. And then there's the Bookworm prospect to the north, which hasn't been drilled, but the tenor of soils is higher than Isis. And there's also a Kapir shear zone prospect as well, part of the skarn mineralization at surface, which has got some really exciting high-grade gold in rock chips, trenches, and 3 holes were drilled as well and intersected some high-grade gold near surface.
Yeah, fantastic, Eric. And you mentioned quite a few majors have been involved in historical exploration in the area, including in-country operator Octedi. But for investors, I mean, PNG is still, even though there are, multiple big gold and copper deposits in the country, PNG is still sort of seen, I guess, optically as a high-risk operating environment. How is Taruga sort of going to manage the community, the permitting, and also the logistical challenges on the ground once you start?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think PNG is probably fairly unfamiliar to most ASX investors. There's one other ASX-listed gold developer explorer, Tolu Metals. They've had a great share price run the last 6 months. But I guess it's about leveraging off Peter McNeil's in-country experience. As I said, 45 years experience in country. He's very well respected both within the government organisations and also the local landowners. So it's about us playing catch up a little bit and learning as much as we can. As I said, a key part of due diligence for us was going to the Ryoko prospect, visiting Normanby Island, meeting with the locals and getting a sense of whether the community wanted us there. And the direct feedback I got from the community leaders was they're desperate for us to be there and desperate for employment opportunities. So it's an ongoing education process for us there, but with Peter's guidance and his experience, we feel like we've got a good footing.
Absolutely, Eric. And there was also just another ASX-listed company recently this year, Kingston Resources, ticker code KSN. They recently sold their Misima gold project in Papua New Guinea to Octedi for 90 million. So I guess that's also, shows investors a good exit strategy as well. They're now cashed up as a junior gold developer producer. So yeah, lots of activity happening, particularly this year. But Eric, I also wanted to ask you to sort of touch a little bit on your background and also Paul Cronin's background, because I think this will give investors a lot of confidence in terms of, both yours and Paul's, execution capabilities, particularly in tough jurisdictions.
Yeah, it's actually, it's a good question because Paul and I first met reviewing an opportunity in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I can tell you there weren't too many people that not only heard of that country, but were familiar with investing there. And so that was an education process as well. But as we've brought in Discovery Capital to cornerstone this raising for us and also to come on as corporate advisor, and they also did the IPO for Adriatic Metals in 2018 and brought in Sandfire as the cornerstone. So really happy to be working with adamant that it's a bringing back the band back together of sorts. Myself, Paul Cronin, and the Discovery Capital team. Similarities in that the data is outdated. It's in need of some JORC qualification, some QA/QC verification, but a really exciting opportunity. So Paul and I, yeah, we put our money where our mouth is in this raising. We've participated in, I think, every capital raising that we've done since I've been involved as a director. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and excellent, and congratulations as well on the success of Adriatic. It's yeah, it's fantastic to see. So just on that, in terms of, bringing in your deep sector experience and, looking at, the prospectivity of the projects that you have, wanted to sort of change gears to Kol Mountain. So Kol Mountain shows deep, continuous copper mineralization. What's the real upside here with this project, and what type of drill results do investors need to see to signal a tier one sort of copper porphyry deposit?
Yeah, I think first of all, Rio Tinto have a permit on East New Britain as well. So do Tolu Metals. It's about scale with a porphyry. Obviously, you've got a lower grade mineralized project, so you need the scale. At the moment, the drilling envelope at ESIS is about 1 kilometre by 500 metres, but there is also another drill hole 1 kilometre to the north that also intersected copper from surface. So the JORC milestones for the Kol Mountain project are 200 million tonnes at 0.5% copper equivalent, and then 400 million tonnes at 0.5% copper equivalent. So, those are the sort of numbers that I think you will need to see for, some economics to be wrapped around a project of that nature. Bookworm, as I said, hasn't been drilled yet. Got the Kapia shear zone high-grade gold at surface. So there's lots of work there to do. But yes, as you're highlighting, the lower grade nature of a porphyry, you need the tons.
Yeah. And you mentioned Bookworm, Eric. So in the announcement, it mentions a supergene zone. Is that what we're talking about with that type of prospect?
So generally, so the supergene enriched zone is in regards to the ESIS project. That's the only one that's been drilled. And I guess a little bit like Normanby project, where you might have a wider interval of gold with a high grade zone within it. ESIS project is similar. I think on the front page of the ASX release today, you can see that one of the drill holes was 238 metres at 0.37% copper, basically from surface. But within that, there are zones where I believe it peaks at around a 1% interval of copper. So within the longer, lower grade interval, typical of porphyries, you are getting a higher grade supergene enriched zone. And that's something that we need to follow up, as well as the gold association with the copper.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I know we sort of touched a little bit on Wioko, but sort of beyond Wioko, how big could the broader East Normandy Gold District become? Are we looking at sort of a single deposit or multiple deposits that could be found? What is your feel?
Yeah, so the Normanby package is almost 500 square kilometres. It basically covers half of the Normanby Island, and as Peter keeps telling me, captures most of the 40-kilometre low sulfidation epithermal strike zone. We've got an 8-kilometre soils grid to work with that surrounds Wioko, both north and south. We were there on site recently, and the most southern prospect is called Vanasia. We met the locals there, panning gold from the streams. So we want to see a million-ounce potential in the deposit, and we believe with some of the indicators, it's a target that you need to be aiming for. We wouldn't be there if we thought it was a small deposit and that was it. But it requires a lot more work, a lot more investment in drilling, which hopefully we can get into early next year.
Yeah, absolutely, Eric. Now, I just have a question on just the transaction side of things with the projects. How does the acquisition structure sort of mentions royalties, milestones, and optionality and flexibility in terms of cash and equity sort of milestone payments. How does this deal, do you think, balance the risk for shareholders while preserving upside for them?
No, it's a good question. I think the reason we did a 12-month option was to give us the time frame to understand the local landowner situation, the communities, dealing with the MRA, progressing from exploration licenses, getting renewals, heaven forbid we convert to an ML at the right time. So that 12 months gives us a really good runway to learn, to educate, to gain confidence in the system, and also to understand the results that are coming back to us and whether the shareholders and the directors think that exercising the option is the right thing to do. But I must say I'm pretty compelled with what I've seen already. What we have structured as well is more of a back-end focused acquisition. So the upfront cost to Taruga shareholders is extremely low for the opportunity we think that's been presented. So it's a $100,000 option fee that we've paid. We need to commit $150,000 in
So 50,000 per project.
That's right. That's right. So a total of 100,000. There's a royalty, a 1.5% royalty on each project, which we can buy back half of. There are 2 JORC milestones on each project. So for us, it's a low risk, upfront, low cost opportunity with huge upside. And always happy to pay vendors for milestones that they achieve because they add significant value to the company.
Yeah, absolutely, Eric. Well, congratulations, Eric. I just have one more question for you, and that is,
no problems.
What would you say are sort of the 3 key takeaways, 2 or 3 key takeaways for investors as to why they should invest in TAR, Taruga, based on this acquisition?
When I look independently at a transaction or an investment for myself, I look at a couple of things. Number one, the people. I think that Taruga ticks the box, and I think you've mentioned execution capabilities in emerging jurisdictions.
Yes.
I think the asset, I think we tick that box. I think with the recent capital raise of 1.5 million, I think we tick the box of having enough money to go out and explore. And I look at the leverage. I think Taruga's market capitalization at 1 cent is low. I think it's highly leveraged for exploration success. And we're in the 2 best commodities I like, copper and gold. And the high grade gold outcropping at Bioko is really compelling. So again, we're looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right people, right place, and right commodity. So yeah, very exciting times for Taruga. Eric, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations again on this announcement, and have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and look forward to your 2026 exploration programs and the news flow from
Great. Thanks, Jess.